Live from New Delhi, you're watching the India NewsHour, India's voice to the world with me, Deepika, coming up in the next 1 hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in his 123rd episode of Mann Ki Baat, urges countrymen to remember those who bravely fought against emergency, addresses key issues including health, yoga and religious pilgrimages. India rejects Pakistan Army's accusation of Waziristan attack, says the statement deserves contempt. Hindus face continuous threat and agony in Bangladesh as recent case of rape of Hindu women surfaces after Durga temple demolition. This is second case against the minorities in less than a week. And clashes erupt in Serbia after anti-government protesters demand snap elections, calling an end to 12-year rule of President Alexander Vucic. US President Donald Trump calls for an end to the war amid renewed efforts to broker a ceasefire as Israel orders evacuations in northern Gaza. Good evening to all the viewers joining us at this evening broadcast. To begin with Prime Minister's Mann Ki Baat, Prime Minister Narendra Modi shared his thoughts with the people of the country and abroad in his monthly radio program called Mann Ki Baat. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed key issues including health, yoga and religious pilgrimages. Talking about emergency, Prime Minister Modi urged the countrymen to remember those who bravely fought against emergency. He added it was a tough period for India.
देश पर इमरजेंसी थोपे जाने के 50 वर्ष कुछ दिन पहले ही पूरे हुए हैं। हम देशवासियों ने संविधान हत्या दिवस मनाया है। हमें हमेशा उन सभी लोगों को याद करना चाहिए जिन्होंने इमरजेंसी का डटकर मुकाबला किया था। इससे हमें अपने संविधान को सशक्त बनाए रखने के लिए निरंतर सजग रहने की प्रेरणा मिलती है।
Talking about the religious pilgrimages, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said Kailash Mansarovar Yatra has resumed after a long time, marking a significant moment for the devotees. He also said that Amarnath Yatra is set to begin from the 3rd of July, enabling the pilgrims to embark on the sacred journey once again.
लंबे समय के बाद कैलाश मानसरोवर यात्रा का फिर से शुभारंभ हुआ है। कैलाश मानसरोवर यानी भगवान शिव का धाम हिंदू, बौद्ध, जैन हर परंपरा में कैलाश को श्रद्धा और भक्ति का केंद्र माना गया है। साथियों, 3 जुलाई से पवित्र अमरनाथ यात्रा शुरू होने जा रही है और सावन का पवित्र महीना भी कुछ ही दिन दूर है। अभी कुछ दिन पहले हमने भगवान जगन्नाथ जी की रथ यात्रा भी देखी है। उड़ीसा हो, गुजरात हो या देश का कोई और कोना, लाखों श्रद्धालु इस यात्रा में शामिल होते हैं। उत्तर से दक्षिण, पूरब से पश्चिम, ये यात्राएं एक भारत श्रेष्ठ भारत के भाव का प्रतिबिंब है। जब हम श्रद्धा भाव से, पूरे समर्पण से और पूरे अनुशासन से अपनी धार्मिक यात्रा संपन्न करते हैं तो उसका फल भी मिलता है।
Prime Minister Modi, in his monthly radio program, also mentioned about International Yoga Day and said that millions across the country and the world took part in the celebration.
न्यूयॉर्क, लंदन, टोक्यो, पेरिस, दुनिया के हर बड़े शहर से योग की तस्वीरें आई और हर तस्वीर में एक बात खास रही, शांति, स्थिरता और संतुलन। इस बार की थीम भी बहुत विशेष थी, योगा फॉर वन अर्थ वन हेल्थ, यानी एक पृथ्वी एक स्वास्थ्य। ये सिर्फ एक नारा नहीं है, एक दिशा है जो हमें वसुधैव कुटुंबकम का एहसास कराती है। मुझे विश्वास है इस बार के योग दिवस की भव्यता ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोगों को योग को अपनाने के लिए जरूर प्रेरित करेगी।
Prime Minister Modi also mentioned about Meghalaya's Eri silk that recently received the GI tag. He said Eri silk is like a heritage for Meghalaya.
आजकल दुनिया में ऐसे प्रोडक्ट्स की डिमांड तेजी से बढ़ रही है जिनमें हिंसा न हो और प्रकृति पर उनका कोई दुष्प्रभाव न पड़े। इसलिए मेघालय का एरी सिल्क ग्लोबल मार्केट के लिए एक परफेक्ट प्रोडक्ट है। इसकी एक और खास बात है, ये सिल्क सर्दी में गर्म करता है और गर्मियों में ठंडक देता है। इसकी एक खूबी इसे ज्यादातर जगहों के लिए अनुकूल बना देती है। मेघालय की महिलाएं अब सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप के जरिए अपनी इस धरोहर को और बड़े स्केल पर आगे बढ़ा रही हैं।
Moving on. Germany's Interior Minister Alexander Dobrindt on Sunday visited the site of an Iranian missile attack that killed 9 people in the Israeli city of Bat Yam. Speaking alongside Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Saar, said there was no doubt that if Iran had nuclear capabilities, they would use them against Israel. A visibly moved Dobrindt referred to the attacks from Iran as terror attacks against the civilian population and reaffirmed Germany's support of Israel.
We can see here how real the threat is. We see here that war is being waged on the civilian population. There are no military targets here. It is a terror attack on the civilian population. And when you see the damage that is caused by rocket attack from Iran, then there is no doubt that would Iran have the nuclear possibility, they would use it against Israel.
Meanwhile, United Nations nuclear watchdog chief Rafael Grossi said Iran is likely and will be able to begin to produce enriched uranium in a matter of months, despite damage to several nuclear facilities from US and Israeli attacks. Well, Grossi said that concerns over Iran's nuclear program will not be solved in a definitive way militarily, urging diplomacy.
Iran had a very vast, ambitious program, and part of it may still be there. And if not, there is also the self-evident truth that the knowledge is there, the industrial capacity is there. Iran is a very sophisticated country in terms of nuclear technology, as is obvious. So you cannot disinvent this. Military operations or not, you are not going to solve this in a definitive way militarily. You are going to have an agreement. You are going to have an inspection system that will give everybody in the region and elsewhere the assurances that we can definitely turn the page.
Israel launched airstrikes on Iranian nuclear and military sites on 13th of June, saying it was aimed at keeping Iran from developing a nuclear weapon, a claim that Iran has consistently denied. The United States subsequently bombed 3 key facilities used for Tehran's atomic program. US President Donald Trump has called on Israel to reach and Hamas to reach an agreement on Gaza, emphasizing the need to secure the release of hostages. In a post on social media, President Trump urged both the sides to finalize a ceasefire deal he had earlier suggested that could be signed within a week. The appeal comes amid fresh Israeli military orders for Palestinians to evacuate northern Gaza as fighting intensifies. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is expected to hold talks on the ongoing offensive. Meanwhile, Arab mediators, Egypt and Qatar, with US backing, are stepping up efforts to end the 20-month conflict and secure the release of Israeli and foreign hostages still held by Hamas. Earlier, the Israeli Defense Forces and the Israeli Security Authority claimed to have killed Hamas co-founder Hakam Mohammed Isa al-Isa in a strike in Gaza City on Friday. IDF spokesperson confirmed that al-Isa was killed in the strike along with his wife and grandson in the area of a sabra within the city. The Israeli military described al-Isa as a senior figure in group's military wing and said he was considered as a founder of both Hamas itself along with Hamas's military wing. The IDF said al-Isa played a significant role in the planning and execution of the 7th of October massacre. Now, more than 1,200 people were killed when Hamas attacked Israel on the 7th of October in 2023 and took more than 250 people as hostages. Thousands of demonstrators rallied in Israel's Tel Aviv on Saturday to demand that the government secure the release of 49 hostages still held in Gaza. Protesters waved Israeli flags, chanted and carried posters with photos of the hostages still held in Gaza since the 7th of October. Well, it was the first rally by hostages' relatives since Israel agreed a ceasefire with Iran on the 24th of June after a 12-day conflict, raising hopes that the truce would lend momentum to efforts to end the Gaza conflict and bring the hostages back home.
I believe and I feel that now it's the momentum. Now we have the opportunity to finish the war in Gaza and to bring Nimrod, my son, and the whole of hostages that are still in hell of Gaza. After we finish the war with Iran, we deal with Hezbollah, there is no threats and nothing is happening in Gaza. It's only a risk of the hostages and our soldiers. So it's the time the majority of the population demand to finish the war and bring all the hostages back home. And I believe now it's safe for our Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, to do the right thing, to save lives, to bring them all back home.
Now to the end of the Gaza war, because there is nothing that can more happen there. We just need our kidnapped back, the 50 people over there. There is no really new aims in the Gaza Strip, and the government has to stop the war there.
US President Donald Trump on Saturday criticized Israel's prosecutors over an ongoing corruption trial against Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, saying that the judicial process was going to interfere with Netanyahu's ability to conduct talks with both Hamas and Iran. In a post on Truth Social, Trump also stated that given the billions of dollars worth of military aid US was providing to Israel, it was not going to stand for this. Netanyahu was indicted in 2019 in Israel on charges of bribery, fraud and breach of trust, all of which he denies. The trial began in 2020 and involves 3 criminal cases. Now, updates from Russia-Ukraine conflict. Russia on Sunday used hundreds of drones, cruise and ballistic missiles to attack the western, southern and central Ukrainian overnight, damaging homes and infrastructure and injuring at least 6 people, local authorities confirmed. The Ukrainian military said some 500 different types of aerial weapons were used during the attack, including drones, ballistic and cruise missiles. Meanwhile, Russian Defense Forces claim to have taken control of the settlement of Ukraine's Chervona on Saturday. Following their announcement, the Defense Ministry released a video that showed soldiers holding Russian flags in Chervona, located in eastern Ukraine's Donetsk region. Now, in an effort to show support to Ukraine, Poland's departing President Andrzej Duda visited the conflict-stricken country on Saturday. During the visit, he urged Kyiv to be patient during the handover to his nationalist successor, Karol Nawrocki. Duda's visit comes as a final gesture of solidarity from Ukraine's one of the most vocal ally. The new Polish president-elect has committed to keep helping Ukraine's defense against Russia, though he has opposed Kyiv joining Western alliances such as NATO.
In 5 weeks' time, the new Polish president will sworn in. The president-elect, Mr. Karol Nawrocki, will take his presidential oath in front of the National Assembly. I believe that he will build the best possible relations between neighbors and establish strong ties between Poland and Ukraine for the future benefit of our countries and people, and to create a secure, peaceful and prosperous space in our part of Europe.
We are heading for a short break, but still to come on the other side. Republican-controlled U.S. Senate advances President Trump's sweeping tax cut and spending bill in key procedural vote. G7 agrees to exclude U.S. from corporate minimum tax. Seville in Spain gears up to host the 4th International Conference on Financing for Development.
When resources are tight, it's time to rethink how we consume, how easily we throw things away, but often, bold ideas in our day-to-day lives can really turn things around.
In the mission, the school-level children are given the concept of waste management and circular economy.
The big advantage is you don't have to go back to the start of the chain like mining iron ore. You can reuse materials that have already been processed. So the sustainability aspects alone are incredibly valuable.
We are not trying to aim for fully automated, 100% digitized assets. We are always proposing a hybrid sort of operation where you're blending in technology where it's useful.
We have been making handicrafts from banana plants for quite some time now. Currently, we produce around 30 products.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India NewsHour. Now, Republican-controlled US Senate advanced President Donald Trump's sweeping tax cut and spending bill in a key procedural vote, raising the odds that lawmakers will be able to pass the Big Beautiful Bill in the coming days. Lawmakers voted 51-49 to open the debate on the 940-pager mega bill, with two of Trump's fellow Republicans joining Democrats to oppose it. Trump has hailed the result as a great victory. The bill would extend his expiring first-term tax cut at a cost of $4.5 trillion and ramp up the border security. But there are concerns that it would add more than $3 trillion to the country's debt. Democrats have opposed the bill, saying tax cut would benefit the wealthy at the expense of social welfare schemes.
They're scrambling to pass a radical bill released to the public in the dead of night, praying the American people don't realize what's in it. If Senate Republicans won't tell the American people what's in this bill, then Democrats are going to force this chamber to read it from start to finish. I object.
The United States and the Group of 7 nations have agreed to support a proposal that would exempt US companies from some of the components of an existing global agreement. The G7 said in a statement that the group has created a side-by-side system in response to the US administration agreeing to scrap the Section 899 retaliatory tax proposal from Trump's tax and spending bill. The agreement was reached in part due to recently proposed changes to the US international tax system included in Trump's signature domestic policy bill, which is still being debated in the Congress. The G7 said the plan recognizes existing US minimum tax laws and aims to bring more stability to the international tax system. UK businesses are also spared higher taxes after the removal of Section 899 from President Donald Trump's tax and spending bill. Now, Serbia anti-government protests turn violent as clashes erupt between the police and the demonstrators. For months, hundreds of thousands of protesters have been demanding snap polls. This report gets you more details. Take a look.
Hundreds of thousands of protesters, including students, continue to gather in Serbia's capital Belgrade, demanding snap elections and an end to the rule of President Aleksandar Vucic. Clashes erupted between the police and the demonstrators. Several protesters have also been arrested. Police have deployed personnel in bright gear around the parliament where Vucic's supporters have gathered in a counter-protest. But anti-government protesters remain undeterred.
Well, the hope is that something will change. That after 30 years, we'll be able to truly live in the society we have been fighting for since the 90s. At least that is why I'm here.
Today we are here to change Serbia and to finally see an end to this government. To somehow, I don't know how, to get to those elections, to call them. And yes, I hope that they will be as fair as possible, because there will never be completely fair ones. And then we will start another fight, only not on the streets, but at the polling stations.
Protests began in November last year after the roof of a train station collapsed in the northern city of Novi Sad, killing 16 people in a tragedy widely blamed on corruption. Opponents of Vucic have accused him and his allies of ties to organized crime and violence against rivals, while the president has said that the protests are part of a foreign plot to destroy his government. The president's second term ends in 2027, the same year in which parliamentary elections are scheduled. His coalition currently holds 156 of 250 parliamentary seats. Bureau Report, DD India.
Hundreds of people protested in Portugal's capital, Lisbon, against the worsening housing crisis. They are demanding rent controls and an extension of rental contract durations to 10 years. Protesters said Prime Minister Luis Montenegro, whose government was re-elected in the month of May, had pledged to prioritize. However, that argued that the measures recently announced are inadequate, sparking fresh mobilization by housing rights groups in the city. France has officially implemented a major smoking ban with an aim to protect public health and especially children. Under the new law, starting from the 29th of June, smoking is now prohibited on the beaches, parks, public gardens, bus shelters, and outside places like libraries, swimming pools, and schools. This decision is part of the French government's broader push to reduce tobacco use and shield children from passive smoking. The rule is being imposed 1 week before the beginning of the school holidays in France in a clear bid to immediately protect children from smoke on the beach. Anyone caught violating the new rule will face a fine of €135. Seville in Spain is gearing up to host the 4th International Conference on Financing for Development with tight security measures in the city. The conference will bring together global leaders, including heads of state, finance ministers and chief executive officers, and leaders from international institutions to discuss the future of development finance over the next decade. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez will take part in the high-level summit that runs from 30th of June till the 3rd of July, alongside global leaders including European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. The agenda will focus on climate financing, global debt reform, and mobilizing public and private capital to address inequalities. Ahead of the 4th International Conference on Financing for Development, Nepal's Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli is in Spain on an official visit, leading a 21-member delegation. During the trip, Prime Minister Oli will hold bilateral talks with his counterparts and witness the signing of MOUs to boost bilateral ties and cooperation. He is also scheduled to interact with the Spanish business community. Several key bilateral meetings are expected on the sidelines of the conference. Thousands of anti-government protesters gathered in Thailand's capital demanding Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatра's resignation over a leaked phone call with former Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Sen. Demonstrators took to the streets on Saturday, outraged by a 15th June conversation in which Paetongtarn urged Hun Sen not to listen to the other side in Thailand. The army commander was in charge of an area where a border clash last month led to one Cambodian soldier being killed. The man was killed on the 28th of May following an armed confrontation in a contested area. The leaked phone call with Hun Sen was at the heart of Saturday's protest and has set off a string of investigations in Thailand that could lead to Paetongtarn's removal. Let's now take a look at other stories making news around the world in brief. Hundreds of protesters marched through the streets of Venice against the 3-day wedding of Amazon tycoon Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez. The wedding angered many Venetians, with some activists protesting it as an exploitation of the city. Protesters also condemned mass tourism, high housing costs, and the constant threat of climate-induced flooding. Brazil opened a new public park in Belém on Friday as part of preparations for the upcoming United Nations Climate Change Conference. The park, located in the Amazonian state of Pará, will serve as a venue for discussions during the global summit scheduled for November 2025. Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, Donald Duck and Goofy. More than 30 well-known Disney characters appeared in the opening day celebration parade of Hong Kong Disneyland's 20th anniversary. Featuring 11 floats, the parades lasted for about 30 minutes, consisting of more than 100 performances. To commemorate the 20th anniversary, Disney put up a series of new decorations, including banners featuring their iconic characters. Moving on. The Indo-French joint military exercise Shakti Part 8 is underway at Camp Larzac in southern France, bringing together 90 personnel from the Indian Army's Jammu and Kashmir Rifle Battalion and the French Army's 13 Demi-Brigade de Legion. The joint exercise strengthens operational interoperability and mutual cooperation between the Indian and French armies and encompasses a wide spectrum of mission-specific drills tailored to sub-conventional warfare. A key highlight of the engagement was the successful conduct of a high-intensity 96-hour joint field exercise simulating multi-domain operations under sustained high-pressure conditions. Recently, the Indian Navy Chief Admiral Dinesh Tripathi awarded 13 gallantry medals to Navy personnel for bravery during Operation Sankalp in Red Sea and Arabian Sea last year. DD India correspondent Nandita Dagar spoke to some of these brave men from Navy. Take a listen.
6th of March 2024, I was the detachment commander of the helicopter on board INS Kolkata, and we were deployed in the Red Sea. So during that mission, we just got some information that some attack has happened, a rough position, but there were no details. The whole vessel was engulfed in the flames, and we still flew in close proximity of this two confidence to find out if there is someone who needs our help. But it was very evident that no one would have survived on board. So in my helicopter, I evacuated 8 personnel, ma'am. And then subsequently, the information was given to our vessel Kolkata. They closed their life raft, and we successfully evacuated all 21 of them, and we had taken them to the nearest country of the Djibouti. This was an operation, a hostage rescue situation, wherein there was a vessel called fishing vessel Umari. It was hijacked. For 3 days, it was under the control of pirates. There were 20 people on board. One was killed to create fear among the crew, and there were 7 pirates, all Somali. The hijacking took place somewhere near the equator. So we were 8 of us, and we did not have a backup boat. So we closed in, and thereafter we started shouting at the crew to stop the vessel. They were not stopping. They were trying to fake themselves as fishermen themselves and taking their boat. But we could see people on the lower decks raising their hands and showing red color flags and all that. They were, yes. So then we closed in, and we started shouting at them to halt the vessel. It took about almost 10-15 minutes, and they were under the influence of drugs. We were able to climb onto the boat. We overpowered all the pirates, and we got all the hostages upstairs, and then we started searching the boat. We found arms and ammunition with them.
Time to take a short break, but still to come on the other side. Up next, we'll get you an in-depth analysis on the unfolding situation in Bangladesh against minorities. India organizes 5-day Japur foot camp in Kabul. Up next, we'll get you the latest report on changing weather patterns across India and how Europe is reeling under intense heat.
Can the US launch a bombing campaign against Iran? The Philippines vessel suffered structural damage. The saga of child sexual abuse is the United States China's debt trap strategy. Truth is stranger than fiction. But sometimes hard to uncover. Trust us to tell the truth, unadulterated and pure, of every story that matters to you. You read between the lines, cut the clutter and connect the dots to get you the full picture. Watch Connecting the Dots at these times with me, only on DD India.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching the India NewsHour. Now, quickly, let's recap the top headline of the hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi in his 123rd episode of Mann Ki Baat urges countrymen to remember those who bravely fought against emergency, addresses key issues including health, yoga and religious pilgrimages. Hindus face continuous threat and agony in Bangladesh as recent cases of rape of a Hindu woman surfaces after Durga temple demolition. This is the second case against minorities in less than a week. Clashes erupt in Serbia after anti-government protesters demand snap elections, calling an end to 12 years of rule of President Aleksandar Vucic. US President Donald Trump calls for an end to the war amid renewed efforts to broker a ceasefire as Israel orders evacuations in northern Gaza. Now in Bangladesh, a Hindu woman was raped at a home in Muradnagar, Upazila of Kumila on Thursday night. The police have arrested the main accused in the rape along with 4 others involved in recording a video of the incident and circulating it on social media. The accused, Fazar Ali, forcibly entered the women's house late at night. The woman, whose husband is an expatriate, is a mother of 2 children. The students of Jagannath Hall of Dhaka University held a protest to demand justice for the victim. The incident comes less than a week after a Durga temple was demolished in Dhaka. Condemning the demolition, the Indian Ministry of External Affairs said that instead of providing security to the temple, the interim government led by Mohammad Yunus projected the episode as a case of illegal land use and allowed the destruction of the temple. The ministry added that it is the responsibility of the interim government of Bangladesh to protect Hindus, their properties and their religious institutions. And now to discuss more on this, I am joined by Ambassador S.R. Dayal. Good evening, sir. Now, when we talk about the growing atrocities against the Hindus and minorities in Bangladesh, and as per the official records in the month of February this year, more than 600 cases of harassment of Hindus were reported in Bangladesh, which is up from 200 in the year 2024. And now a case of vandalism and rape in less than a week has also unfolded. Ministry of External Affairs has time and again voiced its concern regarding the protection of minorities, but the current government is completely ignoring the fact. How do you see this unruly conduct of the Yunus government, considering its possible repercussions it may face?
Unfortunately, after the removal of Sheikh Hasina's Awami League government and advent of the interim government in Bangladesh, led by Sri Mohammad Yunus, the elements which are very anti-Hindu, jihadi, extreme Islamic elements, they have become very emboldened. Many of them who were in prison for their past atrocities, past crimes, past genocide, they have been released by the present interim government. And Hindus are being persecuted very systematically there. And the local government, local police does not take any action against them. Hindus are being dispossessed of their land. I had an occasion to visit Bangladesh 3 years back. Even at that time, when even Sheikh Hasina was there was an element of fear. But at least some protection was there from the then government, because the police used to take action against the extremist elements, against the Islamic elements. I would like to point out that in Bangladesh, in 1971, let us forget about 51, 1971, there were about 20% Hindu population. And today it is 8.9%. So there is an element of anti-Hindu sentiment, unfortunately, in Bangladesh, which is being exacerbated by the present interim government, and it is their duty. It is their duty, whatever is the government of the day, to protect every Bangladeshi, including all the minorities. But unfortunately, We are not seeing that, and as you pointed out, the number of atrocities against Hindus have been rising, have been increasing, because the elements which are anti-Hindu and want to take away Hindus whatever property is left. Ultimately, when some analysis was done, it was found that these extremist elements try to create conditions so that property holder Hindus leave. They feel very afraid, and they leave the country and either come to run away to India or go to West and other countries. So Ministry of External Affairs statement is very correct, and it is ultimately totally the responsibility of the present government of Bangladesh to ensure that all the minorities, Hindus or Christians, they are fully protected, are fully safe, and if there is any atrocity against them, their properties, their women, then immediately, urgently, and very quickly, the Bangladesh police and law enforcement agencies should take action.
When we talk about the responsibility of the government, it reminds me of the statement that was made in September, where Yunus said that cases against minorities and especially Hindus are exaggerated, quote unquote. That was the word that he used. But the recent rape case followed by the vandalization of Durga temple are just added incidents that are making the minorities really unsafe in Bangladesh. And you yourself, mentioned that how the cases have increased to 10-folds, I think 100-fold in the recent years. How do you see this development and the statement, the kind of statement that Yunus is making himself?
Some elements in Bangladesh are trying to create a fear psychosis so that Hindus remain very afraid and they leave Bangladesh. That is their long-term plan. As I said, from 20% in 1971, Hindu population is 8.9%. And if we compare with Muslim population of our West Bengal, our Bengal, when it was 20% in 1971, it is now 27%. So you can see the minorities are safe in India, so their numbers are increasing, whereas minorities are very unsafe in Bangladesh. True. So their numbers are declining, and it is totally the responsibility of the present regime to acknowledge that there is a problem and not say that it is exaggerated. That is denial of the problem. A problem can be solved only when its magnitude, its gravity, its seriousness is fully understood by the law enforcement agencies and by the government of the day. If the government of the day takes it lightly and say, no, they are exaggerated, that means that they are not willing to extend their protection, their protective hand of the state towards the minorities. So the statement should be that whatever is, and if there is any atrocity or any ill treatment of minorities, then the entire might of the state will come to protect the minorities and take action against the perpetrators of that crime and that atrocity.
Which is unfortunately not the case in Bangladesh, because we are seeing a different stand by the current Yunus government. And not only this, we've seen the concerns submitted by international bodies too regarding the ongoing situation. But shouldn't this be the time when any sort of sanction or stringent measures should come into force against Bangladesh?
I think that this question can be raised in Human Rights Commission and Human Rights. But ultimately, those things take a lot of time, and the remedial measures also take a lot of time. So pressure has to be put on the government of Bangladesh directly by the democratic states. There was some report from United States also that Hindus are not being treated properly and minorities are not being treated well in Bangladesh. So it is the responsibility of all right-thinking governments in the neighborhood, other countries, to put pressure on the government of Bangladesh so that they discharge their constitutional duties, their duties under the UN Charter, their duties under the Human Rights Convention, Universal Convention on Human Rights, that all minorities in the territory of Bangladesh are treated with respect, with equality, and they are fully protected by the organs of the state, by the police, by army, and by judiciary, and by the people themselves.
Considering that this is the interim government which is currently there in Bangladesh, and considering the scenarios, the unfolding, the aggressive scenarios against the minorities, and also economically, Bangladesh is not doing so well, and nor does diplomatically. How do you see the survival of the current government of Bangladesh right now?
Bangladesh is going through a turbulent political phase, and generally it is believed that elections should be held as soon as possible. Now, perhaps now in April they will be held, and so that there is a proper government in place. When there is a proper constitutionally elected democratic government in place in Dhaka, then it will be easier for the government of India also to deal with them and to have, in a spirit of give and take, in a spirit of friendship with the new government, whichever government is there, address these issues so that our concerns, the concerns of their minorities, they are their citizens, are addressed properly, and the issue is not brushed off, that the numbers of atrocities are exaggerated. There should not be even one atrocity. The country should be governed in such a manner that there is no activity against minorities, that they feel safe, that their properties are safe, their women are safe. But somehow a psychology is being perpetrated, and being a fear psychosis is being spread in many parts of Bangladesh, which makes Hindus very insecure, unsafe, and their game plan is to make Hindus so unsafe that they leave Bangladesh. But they should not leave, and whichever is the government, I think a very stern message should go from the international community as well as the government of India, people of India, and that we will hold the present government of Bangladesh responsible for the full safety, security, and honor of the minorities in Bangladesh.
All right. Thank you so much, Ambassador Dayal, for joining us and bringing us a rounded perspective on this very important issue. Moving on. India's External Affairs Ministry strongly rejected Pakistan Army's claim of India's involvement in the Waziristan attack on the 28th of June. The Ministry of External Affairs condemned the accusation. India's External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Randir Jaiswal stated, "We reject the statement with the contempt it deserves." Now on Saturday, a suicide bomb attack in Pakistan's North Waziristan district of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province killed 16 troops and injured over 2 dozen people, including the civilians. The attack was claimed by the suicide bomber wing of Hafiz Gul Bahadur faction, a group affiliated with the Pakistani Taliban. Moving on. As part of India's ongoing humanitarian assistance to the people of Afghanistan, a 5-day Japur foot camp was held in Kabul by PM IST Japur. The camp received an enthusiastic response with around 75 prosthetic limbs successfully fitted. The initiative brought hope and mobility to many in need, further strengthening the bond of friendship between India and Afghanistan. On to weather updates now. The southwest monsoon has now covered the entire country, including the remaining parts of Rajasthan, West Uttar Pradesh, Haryana and Delhi as of the 29th of June. Now, this early onset arrives 9 days ahead of the usual schedule, making it the first June-wide monsoon coverage since 2020. According to the Indian Meteorological Department, this development sets the tone for a robust and widespread rainy season across India. The IMD has also issued alerts of heavy downpours with possible thunderstorms across Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Odisha and Bihar. IMD forecast further states that the isolated regions in Kerala and Tamil Nadu may witness gusty wind and intense showers. From the coastal Konkan stretch through Goa and up to the Western Ghats, consistent heavy to very heavy rainfall will be there over the next 7 days. Additionally, Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh are poised for extremely heavy rainfall on 30th of June. Cities like Dehradun and Haridwar may see weather disturbances, while regions from Ghaziabad to Varanasi are likely to experience moderate to heavy rain until at least the 4th of July. China's southern city of Guizhou province is severely affected by heavy floods, resulting in 6 deaths and over 80,000 people forced to flee their homes. Emergency response efforts have been launched, with rescue teams evacuating residents and heavy machinery deployed to manage the damage. Meanwhile, in response to the new round of flooding, authorities have raised the city's flood emergency response level to the highest of level on Saturday. In southern China, over the past 2 days, 13 major rivers were hit by storms and have exceeded warning levels. Southern Europe is bracing for its first major heat wave of the summer, with temperatures expected to soar across the region. Italy, France, Portugal and Spain are all under heat alerts, with temperatures forecast to reach as high as 42 degrees Celsius in Lisbon and 46 degrees Celsius in parts of Spain. In France's central city of Tours, schools have been closed on Monday and Tuesday in the afternoon. The nearby city of Orleans had already made access to some air-conditioned museums free. 17 cities in Italy and 2/3 of Portugal will be on high alert on Sunday for extreme heat. Outdoor work has been banned in Palermo, Sicily, as has the Liguria region in northern Italy. Madrid is experiencing its first major heat wave of the summer, with temperatures expected to soar above 40 degrees Celsius across much of Spain. The Spanish weather agency has issued warnings for extreme temperatures, advising the people to take precautions. Residents and tourists are seeking relief in shaded areas or underwater sprinklers installed in public areas. And a massive wildfire is sweeping across Turkey's northwestern region, affecting dozens of villages and forcing large-scale evacuations. The situation has become dire enough for local officials to declare a state of emergency and establish a crisis center to coordinate relief efforts. Time to take a short break, but still to come on the other side. India observes the 19th edition of National Statistics Day. Inter Miami to face French club Paris Saint-Germain in the round of 16 of FIFA Club World Cup. And India's young shuttler Ayush Shetty and Tanvi Sharma reaches men's and women's singles finals of US Badminton Championship.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Johar. Arey, it fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout ho gaya.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India NewsHour. Now, at least 3 people were killed and several injured in a stampede near Gundicha Temple in Odisha's Puri on Sunday. The tragedy struck as massive crowds gathered for darshan of Lord Jagannath, Lord Balabhadra and Devi Subhadra on their chariots. The Odisha government has announced an ex gratia of 25 lakh rupees for the families of each deceased. Chief Minister Mohan Charan Machi has deeply condoled the loss of lives and sought forgiveness from lakhs of devotees for the unfortunate incident. Now, National Statistics Day, celebrated on the 29th of June, pays homage to Professor Prasanta Chandra Mahalanobis, a pioneer in statistics and economic planning, and aims to raise public awareness, particularly among the younger generation, about the role of statistics in socio-economic planning and policy formulation for national development. Here's more.
Every year on the 29th of June, India celebrates National Statistics Day. This day commemorates the birth anniversary of Prasant Chandra Mahalanobis, a visionary thinker, a pioneering statistician, and a father of the modern statistics in India. it is observed to acknowledge the contribution of Indian statisticians and promote statistics as an essential field of study. PC Mahalanobis was born on June 29, 1893 in Kolkata. He is best known for developing Mahalanobis distance, a statistical method widely used in population studies and multivariate analysis. This concept measures the distance between a data point and the center of a distribution while accounting for the correlation between the different variables, a groundbreaking advancement in the statistical science. Beyond academics, Mahalanobis played a crucial role in shaping India's development path. In 1951, he became a founding member of independent India's first planning commission. As a planner, he proposed the two-sector model for the industrial growth, which became the foundation of the second five-year plan between 1956 and 61. This model, known as Mahalanobis model, accelerated India's industrialization. In recognition of his immense contributions, he was honored with the Padma Vibhushan, India's second highest civilian award, in 1968. In 1931, PC Mahalanobis also founded the Indian Statistical Institute in Kolkata, which has now 10 branches across India, including in Delhi, Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Pune, Chennai, Coimbatore, and Girit, dedicated to the advanced statistical education and research. The first National Statistics Day was observed on June 29, 2007, with the aim to honor PC Mahalanobis' legacy and recognize the role of statistics in policy making and daily life. Statistics as a branch of mathematics deals with the collection, presentation, classification, and interpretation of data. It helps government and organizations design accurate, data-driven policies that are grounded in evidence and clarity. In 2025, India is celebrating the 19th National Statistics Day. This celebration is not just about history, it is a call to action for the next generation of thinkers, analysts, and changemakers to take forward PC Mahalanobis' vision of using statistics to empower progress, precision, and planning in every corner of the society.
And now it's time to get you all the latest action from the world of sports. To begin with soccer, Lionel Messi will lead Inter Miami against his former club Paris Saint-Germain in round of 16 clash in FIFA Club World Cup on Sunday. The Argentinian international forward joined the French giants and now first-time European champions from the club he represented since childhood, which is Barcelona. The match will mark a rare reunion of European football greats, all layered with old loyalties, recent regrets and the change for Lionel Messi to settle a score. Sunday's match features a compelling contrast of eras, a PSG side powered by youth and energy fresh off their maiden Champions League title, and an Inter Miami team built around aging but iconic former Barcelona star. PSG arrived in Atalanta after a 1-0 loss to Brazil's Botafogo in the group stage that raised questions about fatigue following a long European season, while Inter Miami finished second in their group behind Palmeiras with 1 victory and 2 draws to their name. And Bayern Munich will hope to secure a place in the quarterfinals of the Club World Cup when they take on Flamengo on Monday. Winston Company's Bayern finished second in Group C following a defeat to Benfica in their last group game. Harry Kane, Joshua Kimmich and Michael Olise will all return to Bayern Munich's squad for Monday's clash. On the other hand, Flamengo top Group D and have lost just one of their last 18 games in League and Cup. Key players like Gerson, Arek Pulgar and Jorginho are expected to join the squad ahead of the match. And England won their fourth UEFA European Under-21 Championship title, retaining the trophy with an action-packed 3-2 victory over Germany. League Alsace side were defending champions and led 2-0 after just 25 minutes, but Germany forced the game into extra time with goals either side of half-time. Jonathan Vawe then netted a 92nd minute winner, securing a dramatic extra time victory in Slovakia. England's victory over Germany follows victory over Spain in the 2023 edition and repeats the feat Dave Sexton's side achieved in 1982 and 84. In badminton, India enjoyed a historic night at the US Open on Saturday as young shuttlers Ayush Shetty and Tanvi Sharma reached the men's and women's singles finals of US Open Badminton Championship in Iowa. Ayush produced a stunning comeback to defeat top seed and world number 9 Shothia Chen, securing his maiden BWF World Tour final. For the title, Ayush will be up against Canada's Brian Young. Facing Ukraine's Polina Porova, Tanvi clinched the big moments in semi-finals and won the match in straight games by 21-14, 21-16 to qualify for her first ever Super 300 final. Tanvi will face top seed Bivin Song in women's singles category. Continuing the momentum of Sundays on cycle, fitness enthusiasts once again gathered in New Delhi this Sunday. Ministry of Sports, in collaboration with Rahagiri Foundation, organised the event at Connaught Place that also saw participation from sanitation warriors.
For fitness-conscious Delhiites, Sunday mornings now have a different vibe. Even though it's a holiday, all these people have gathered to promote the cause of fitness. Everyone has their own fitness mantra. Some prefer Zumba, others yoga, and of course, cycling is loved by all. This edition of Sundays on Cycle in Delhi was celebrated in association with sanitation warriors. Multiple Commonwealth Games medalist and wrestler Babita Fogart graced the event as a special guest. Mounted on their bicycles, everyone took a round around the heart of Delhi, Connaught Place. Sunday is now celebrated as Sundays on Cycle, and the initiative is receiving an overwhelming response from the public.
Good to see that so many people are coming. This time we collaborated with Rahagiri Foundation, and Fit India activities are gaining a lot of support among common people of Delhi and entire India. Just to give you a stats, more than 7,500 locations we have reached till now, and more than 2 lakh people have joined us till now.
This Fit India initiative, which has now been led by Sundays on Cycle, I think this is step by step, we are moving to the right path to make our India fit. Because it is believed, if the city is not healthy, we cannot have a healthy life.
Cycling is not just a way to stay fit, but also helps combat pollution in Delhi. It is hoped that Sundays on Cycle initiative continues to grow and that fitness lovers and those passionate about keeping the city clean continue to push this movement forward. Suchitra's report for DD India.
And that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download it right now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I am Deepika, and from all of us here in New Delhi, thank you so much for watching DD India News Hour.